Hey everybody, I've got a bit of a grammar lesson for you today. So this is all about editing, and editing is just the process of when you're finished writing, go back and read it again, look for mistakes, look for ways to improve it. Another way of saying this is proofreading, right? This is another term for this. Editing is important because look at the title here. You can probably see three spelling mistakes in there, right? Yeah. So this wasn't edited. This wasn't proofread. So a lot of students are losing a lot of marks because of silly mistakes like that, whether they're typos or grammar oddities, awkward language. Look, you can always make a document better. I would suggest proofreading one at least or two times, and then you should have the best product possible, right? So let's talk about why. Readability, we've talked about that a lot. What is clear communication? It is communication that's clear, so there's no ambiguity. It's concise, which means short and to the point. Powerful, you're getting the result that you want. And it's persuasive, you're convincing someone to do something, right? Um, Proper communication is important. If we didn't have it, society would break down. People would not be able to understand each other. People would be fights a lot more often. So proper communication, whether it's written or verbal, it's one of the cornerstones of our civilization, like running water and electricity. And look, I'm not overstating the point too much, but without correct language, we probably would have chaos and anarchy. So let's take a look at an example. I think it's Pause Magazine. Eat, Ray, Love. Rachel Ray here. Great. She finds inspiration in cooking her family and her dog. Well, that's not good because now we're talking about cooking your family and cooking your dog, right? What could have fixed this? A comma, right? Or a set of commas. In cooking her family, cooking, comma, her family, comma, and her dog, right? She loves cooking, great. That's one separate thing. She also loves her family and her dog. She doesn't want to cook those two things. It's as simple as a comma here, but this probably embarrassed the magazine. It probably, maybe, who knows, upset Rachel Ray. It's a stupid, obvious little error that could have been caught with a simple proofread. That's why we do this. You all ever heard the term grammar Nazis or the grammar police? Yeah, this is a bit of slang used all over the internet for, against people who are maybe correcting your spelling. And look, I know it's annoying. I try not to do it with people too much. My students, I do, but usually not with strangers. But it is important to speak well and to write properly. If you have these mistakes in your writing or in your speaking, it's going to help people judge you, and not in a positive way. So, yes, the grammar Nazi thing has a negative connotation, but it is good to correct yourself. Be your own police, right? Be your police your own grammar. So here's an excellent example of what not to do. Poor writing, grammar, punctuation, and spelling takes away from your message's power and its intent, right? If someone sees a spelling mistake, that's all they can see. You've lost your audience, right? They're automatically judging you. This piece of information is now not credible anymore, and so I'm not going to listen to it. You've broken the communication, right? Here's an example. Michael Stipe, when David Bowie died, he says, "Right now, comma, it feels as if the solar system is off its axis." All right. So first of all, why is he right justifying? That doesn't make any sense. It's silly. Why has he got right now and then a space? He's not capitalizing the first part of his sentences, which is wrong. He's used the wrong it's. It should be its with no apostrophe. Same as the next one. As if one of our main planetary anchors has lost its orbit. He's used the comma splice there, which we learned about. That said, and then this weird M dash, I am certain that wherever Bowie is now, I want to be there someday. Full of grammatical and just errors in the craft of writing. It's detracting from his message. People are not going to be able to read this quickly and clearly. It's a heartfelt message, sure. Maybe he even knew David Bowie, but unfortunately, the message is getting lost in the spelling mistakes, right? And I'm sure the grammar police tore him apart, which you don't want, right? So there's a time and place for informal language. You're drinking beer with your friends in the bar, you're texting and you're doing it with two thumbs and it has to be quick. No problem. It doesn't have to be perfect. That's okay. But Even when we're talking about something as simple as eating your grandpa, you want to make sure that the proper punctuation is used, because one is you're actually eating your grandpa, and one is let's go and eat grandpa. So let's not have a miscommunication. These typos will actually hurt your communication. Please, please, please proofread all of your assignments and everything you do in your life. Let's talk about one very strange thing that I see all around the world: unnecessary quotation marks. People are often doing this, because they don't have an understanding of why you use quotation marks. They're putting quotation marks around words where it just simply doesn't go. Please don't do this. If you put something in quotation marks, either it's a direct quote, you're quoting someone who said something in exactly that order, or you're putting it like allegedly, right? His work was really great, or your dinner is just amazing. Yeah, you're being sarcastic, right? Everything in the quotation marks is now a farce. It's a joke, right? So Rob is a nice guy. No, that's not doesn't mean that he's nice. Let's look at examples here. Best parking rates in Lahaina, 3 bottles of wine, unexpected surprises, sign up for our emails. I wonder what you're going to get. And then the filling lunch, right? So these are all examples of where quotation marks are used improperly, right? You just don't need them. You're not quoting anyone, and you're not trying to be sarcastic. So there's no reason to put quotation marks. It's not a way to do emphasis. You want to emphasize something, underline it or bold it, or make it flashing. All right, me and I. This is another very commonly, these are confused, right? So when you use me and when you use I, the rule, it's pretty simple actually. The easy way is to see whether the sentence reads properly if you take away the additional noun. So if it's Rob and Mike, just take away, or if it's Rob and I, just take away Rob, and then see if I, whatever it is, makes sense. So for example, the dog followed John and me to the door. Okay, yeah, that makes sense, because you wouldn't say the dog followed I to the door, right? It doesn't make sense. Hopefully you all know, when to use I and me, but it gets complicated when you have more than one person, right? Another example, John and I are going for coffee. Yeah, that's fine. You would say I am going for coffee. You wouldn't say me, I'm going for coffee, right? So that's a very simple, quick test you can use of whether to use me or I. Just eliminate the other person or the other thing, and then see how it sounds. This is going to be on a test, so you probably should know it. All right, let's talk about something a bit more complicated. Modifiers. A modifier is just a word or a group of words that changes or modifies, or defines, or gives further meaning to another group of words. So let's take an example here. We have Groucho Marx. One morning, I shot an elephant in my pajamas. How he got into my pajamas, I'll never know. Funny, right? So he's implying that the elephant got into his pajamas, right? Any sane, normal human being would understand that one morning I was wearing my pajamas and I shot an elephant. Now, unfortunately, the way that this is written, it's improper. It's not proper English. And you might think, okay, in this case, it's very clear what he means. Why do you need to be so picky? But in other cases, it's not clear. We'll go through some examples. So, we want to make sure that you have your noun, you have the thing, and then whatever's next to it in the sentence is acting on it, right? You don't have a noun and then another noun and then acting on the first thing. You want everything to be connected, right? So we'll get examples on this. 2 most common modifier errors are misplaced modifiers. So that's when you take a modifier and put it in the wrong spot, like at the end of the sentence. Or a dangling modifier is just one where the modifier is missing from the sentence entirely. Example time. A misplaced modifier. All right, and here's the rule. Place these as close as possible to the words they modify, right? So, bad example. He serves steak to the men on paper plates. Don't worry about prepositional phrase. On paper plates is the modifier, basically. Okay, it should be modifying the steak, but right now it's modifying the men. So what this literally means, this sentence, is that there is a he serving steak to men, fine so far, on paper plates. The men are standing on paper plates in this sentence. That's what it literally means. It's obviously not what we're trying to say, right? But it's improper English. It's bad grammar. What we want to say is that he serves steak on paper plates to the men, right? We just pull the modifier here, the paper plates, ahead. Now they're touching. Now they're attached, right? It's as close as possible. So we're just reversing the sentence a little bit for it to make better sense. So he serves steak on paper plates to the men. Perfect. Here's another one. He only serves steak. What that literally means is that he doesn't do anything else except serve steak. His one thing in life is he serves steak. But we know logically that this means that the only thing he served for dinner was steak, right? There's no potatoes and there's no carrots. The proper way to say that would be he served only steak, right? So now the only is next to the steak. Brilliant, perfect. Steak was all that was served. Now it makes sense. Are you getting it? I hope so. If you're confused about this, because it's a bit more tricky, email me and we'll talk about it, okay? Or we'll do something in our homework lab. More examples. Here are some funny ones. The maid hit the spider with the broom hanging from the ceiling. What does that actually literally mean in your mind? It means that there's a maid hitting a spider and the spider has a broom hanging from the ceiling. The broom is maybe attached to the ceiling. We don't know exactly, but it's nonsensical, right? What we really mean is that the maid hit the spider, which is hanging from the ceiling, with the broom. The spider is what she hit. Those two things go together. The broom and the maid don't go together, really. The maid hit the spider hanging from the ceiling with the broom. Now it makes sense, right? The modifier is in the right place. Another bad one. Shining on her finger, we notice the emerald ring. Okay. Why is that wrong? Shining on her finger. If you just read that, it sounds almost like her finger is shining, right? Shining on her finger, one thought. We notice the emerald ring, second thought. No, it's not properly arranged. But if you fix it, it would say we noticed the emerald ring, right? Because to notice is the verb, the emerald ring is the noun, shining on her finger. The emerald ring and shining go together, right? Not the finger and shining, because the finger is not shining, right? Hope this is making sense. We'll do one more. Jason returned the new car his parents purchased after denting a fender. What it really means, as it's written, is that his parents purchased this car after they dented the fender. Okay, they dented the fender, then they bought the car. No, that's not what we mean. We mean that after Jason dented the fender, so after denting a fender, Jason returned the new car that his parents purchased, right? That would be fixed. Okay. Anything else to have here? Yeah, dangling modifiers. These are attached to nothing, right? These sentences are confusing and awkward because they're missing something, right? They're missing a subject here. So after working 9 hours, the report was finally finished. You could take this to mean literally that the report itself was working for 9 hours, right? Some kind of fable, I guess we have going on here. What you really mean is after I worked for 9 hours, the report was finally finished. We need a subject here. And in this case, the subject is I. Or you can say after Rob worked 9 hours. Great, now you have a subject which is Rob. You need the subject here. Next one, driving along the Cabot Trail, the ocean suddenly came into view. Well, this is confusing because who's doing the driving? We don't have a subject. It should be probably after I drove the Cabot Trail, or as I was driving along the Cabot Trail, the ocean suddenly came to view. What this means right now is maybe it suggests that the ocean is driving, right? Driving the Cabot Trail, the ocean, those two things are together, right? So our brain associates them. It's nonsensical though, right? The ocean is driving, doesn't make sense. One more. After leaving the Midtown meeting, who's leaving? Angela's car wouldn't start. Oh, Angela's car left the Midtown meeting? That's literally what you're saying here in the format that it's in. But that's obviously not what we mean. So take a look at these. There's something wrong with them. You're missing a subject, so please make sure that all of your sentences have clear subjects, right? Ask yourself if an alien from another planet came to visit, would what you say make sense? All right, that's a really simple test. Okay, more proofreading stuff. These are funny. We're opening at 3 a.m. on Black Friday. Where's the problem here? Maybe you want to pause, think about it, try to find them, and then I'll give you the answer after. So there's a few of these. Let's go through them. We're opening. We're? No, I don't think so. We are. It's a contraction, right? We are opening at 3 a.m. Cakes for all occasions, weddings, birthdays, anniversaries, christenings. Fantastic. But when we have an apostrophe like that, it's possessive, right? What does the wedding own? The wedding's what? The wedding's birthday? I don't know. So all this stuff needs to go. We don't need apostrophes there because nothing is being possessed by the wedding, by the birthday. Popeyes, chicken and biscuits, they're back. They're back? There, over there? Yeah, no, that doesn't make sense, right? It's they are back, Buffalo Nuggets. On-site service, no job too large or too small. Yeah, so we all know the difference between those twos, right? So obviously there's a problem there. By the way, on-site, okay, maybe it's a play on words, but probably should be on-site, S-I-T-E. The site is a location. Site with a G is your eyesight. And then we have your service specialist. No, improper. Should be no job too large or too small. Your service specialist, right? Because you are a service specialist. No, that's what you're with an apostrophe means. The pilgrims are worth a lot more than a turkey dinner. Then with an E and than with an A. Totally different meanings, right? So we're so close and misused often, but it's not proper, right? It should be than. Then is usually a matter of time. I went to the store and then I went to bed, whereas than is a measure of quantity usually. They deserve more than this. Oh, this is a bad one. Pinnacle, consulting highway and transportation engineers. Very embarrassing. This looks like a bus shelter ad or something, or maybe the back of a truck. You're going to get yourself in trouble with your customers. Not good, not good. Now accepting reservations for Valentine's Day. Hey, that's amazing. Accepting means, to exclude something. Accepting, you can have everything on the menu excepting the hamburger, right? No, it should be accepting. Stupid, simple mistakes, but can really kill your credibility. And Valentine's Day, right? It should be an apostrophe there because it's owned by Saint Valentine. It's his day, Saint Valentine's Day. Here's another one. Store policy. All bags must be left at, front counter, no exception. Thank you. Sounds very ominous, doesn't it? Okay, what are the problems? Yeah, this is an answer. So all bags must be left at the front counter. You could put a the there. You can get rid of those quotation marks. No exception. Yeah, I guess it's proper. Maybe no exceptions would be better. And yeah, the colon could go up top, right? Store policy, here's what it is. Here's another interesting one. For your convenience, there is an additional 2 ATMs located around the corner. What's wrong with this? For your convenience, fine. There is an additional 2. An means 1, right? How can you have an 2? You can't have 2 ATMs and say an. There are an additional 2 ATMs located around the corner. And ATMs, it doesn't need an apostrophe. It doesn't. It's plural of ATMs, automated teller machines, right? It's not being possessed by anything. The ATMs don't own anything, so you don't need that. For your convenience, there are an additional 2 ATMs located around the corner. Get rid of that apostrophe. Boom. A few more. Deserts. There should be an S there. Missing. All right. What else am I seeing? You seeing anything else? Yeah, just is misspelled. That's all. Attention customers. Apostrophe? Why you got an apostrophe there, man? Customers. What do the customers own? Nothing. There are no returns on movies, music, books, and video games. They are as is conditions. Thank you. Very improperly written. Nothing under $5. If you don't like the price, too bad. It's the wrong two, right? Help keep this area clean. No littering. Pick up your dog waste. Pick up your dog waste. That's rude. The People's Princess. Yeah, sarcasm. Caution, pedestrians slippery when wet. Really? The pedestrians are slippery? That's awkward. And here's my favorite. Attention, toilet only for disabled, elderly, pregnant, children, right? Unfortunately, this is not a list. So the only way you can use this particular toilet is if you have all of these conditions, which I think is impossible. Yes, impossible. So you get it. I've made my point, I hope. Proofread your documents, edit your documents. If you think they're perfect, go back and read it one more time because I will catch your mistakes in your assignments. And probably people will find your mistakes in the business world as well. And hopefully that's not your boss. So I think that's it for today. Check the FOL for your assignments, etc. And we'll talk soon. Okay, thanks everyone for watching. Email me if you have any questions.